right. What's up, everybody? Brian, I'm here with Israel, and we're here with King Fowley,
Cheers.
the legendary deceased, also October 31.
It's true.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Seriously, thank you guys for the support. We appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, man. Uh, so me and Israel today, we spent a lot of time today listening to the new album. We got a preview of it from your label.
Okay.
It's called Children of the Morgue. Looks like it's out August 30th on Hell's Headbangers. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Uh, like personally, I thought it was like it's a really diverse album. It's got like a lot of different influences. It sounds like.
Absolutely. We're all over the place. I mean, we're not afraid to show what we like, man. We could be one minute we could be on a repulsion kick, and the next minute we're doing Queensryche. We grew up with all of it, man. And it's all inside of us.
Yeah, King. It definitely shows. Like it's one of the few times I didn't want to skip the intro because I really liked it.
Oh,
Because
cool.
usually I'm not like a fan of like intros, but this one was awesome. Goes right into like the title track. Maybe give us a little background on the album.
Well, Mike Smith, who's been in the band for 25, 30,000 years, whatever it is now, he was living overseas. He worked for the government. So these last few records, I didn't get to see Mike too much. And me and Mike pretty much write a lot of the stuff along with Shane, our other guitar player. So Mike actually retired last year after all these years. So he's retired. So he's back in Virginia, which I'm up in Pennsylvania, but I'm only about 3 hours from them. So we got to start writing quicker now because the last few records, I think I saw Mike like when we were writing Ghostly White those couple of years ago. I think I saw him like twice or three times a year, and that was it. So we could only get what we could get done. So this record here was a lot quicker because we were getting together and jamming like once every 3 weeks, and we were writing tunes. So it came together quicker, which still took, I guess it still took 6 years because of Mike just now retiring. Let's put it this way, he retired like, I guess, 4.5 years before we got this done. So about a year and a half, 2 years of writing this record, which is these days for us very quick just because of everybody's lifestyles. But we wanted to do just, more deceased death metal from the grave the way we do it, whether it's with melody, whether it's with intensity, speed. There's some heavier stuff on there, like you were mentioning the intro. There's some of that too. We definitely wanted to go for a better production, which, that's something I've been kind of honing my craft in producing the last couple records. And I think it's getting better and better without sounding modern with the sound and the Pro Tools tricks and all that kind of stuff. Not a fan of that kind of stuff. Want the warm stuff, rather have it a little bit raw and ugly underneath a pretty good mix than have this digital, I don't know, plasticky, feel. Music wise, like I was saying, we're everything we love is still there. Like one minute we're writing what we call a Venom part, then all of a sudden we're like, here's a Maiden part, or here's something. Man, this kind of reminds me of Agent Steel. It could be anything and everything. You know what I'm saying? So it is all over the place. It is a concept record, the first since Fearless, and it's about dying, and that was probably the hardest thing for me because our drummer Dave Scarface Castillo, he died right after we did Ghostly White. He actually drowned in 2018, and along the way, getting older, I'm 56, just turned 56. You see your buddies starting to get, we age and we die and things like that. So that's kind of like the morbid fascination in my mind. But a lot of my inspiration for this record, which I don't want to say inspired me, but I guess it was how I went, was watching documentaries on children dying of cancer at 4 years old. Things like that. Just horrible stuff, which to me is a lot more ugly and death-like than, your typical end of the world or grave robbing or stuff, which we've done our share of that in the past too. But I like to write these very deep, emotional, intense things, and that's how I want to go lyrically. So it's a lot of emotions in that. And the band just kicked ass. I mean, I was proud of everybody that played on the record with our new drummer who's been in the band now 6 years. Amos was his first record. He kicked ass on drums. Shane was up to par. Les was writing more bass lines than he ever has, which is cool because he used a lot of times he'd follow the rhythms of the guitars in the past. But there's more of that now. That it's just, I don't know. I'm very excited. I'm proud as hell of the record. I want to get out and play these tunes, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like Brian was saying, we were supposed to be working, but we're sitting there listening to the album today. And we really enjoyed it. Um, it- you've written some really classic albums like Fearless and the Machines, Blueprint for Madness, As the Weird Travel On. What do you think is the formula for you guys to keep the creativity alive in your band, especially after almost, 40 years of hitting
It'll
it,
be 40 years next year. Actually, real quickly, in a lot of ways, it's 40 years right now. We actually were a band before 1985. We just didn't get the name Deceased until the beginning of 85. So we just say it's Deceased 40th, but we had names like Mace and Mad Butcher and Evil Axe. These, we were 16 cool names back then and stuff. But the passion is just still there, man. Everybody that comes to this band, they're all in. We're all in all the time. I mean, where the studio was 3 hours plus away from my house where I lived. I was driving back and forth daily. I put 3,907 miles on my car between May 10th and June. I think it was June 15th when we actually finished the recording. And it's just a love for heavy metal and making music. We're not about being popular or this and that or trends or this is hip, that ain't. Let's go this route. You could give a fucking shit, man. We don't care. We just do what Deceased does, and for better or for worse. You know what I'm saying? And we're proud of all the stuff we've done. It's just a Deceased formula that works. We get in the room, we write riffs. If we like them, we use them. If a couple weeks later they're not as good as we thought they were 4 weeks prior, etc., we'll improve upon them, or we'll throw them away and we'll move on. We've learned that in the 40 years of doing what we do.
Yeah, King. I don't think I've met you personally, but you're kind of well known in the scene as somebody who's like an ambassador for metal. What do you think keeps you coming back to metal over all these years?
I mean, it's as simple as I fucking love it, man. Every time something I love, I'm an old school fart. I grew up with a lot of the stuff, probably, people even a little younger than me stuff. I mean, I remember my grandmother buying me Iron Maiden records when I was a little kid and sitting in my basement at 13 and watching Eddie go around on the middle of the record, listening to whether it be Killers or Number of the Beast or, that kind of stuff, and just getting inspired and being like, man, I want to do this. I want to do this. So the first step was getting the band together and doing it. Now it's just a matter of keeping everybody in line. We've had people, as I said, die. We've had people get married, divorced, be rich, be poor, get good jobs, get bad jobs. We've been through all of life's, whatever you want to call it, conveyor belt. And we're still doing what we do, and some guys have stepped down and, life is life. But speaking for me and speaking, as the head honcho for the band, we're all in, man. Death metal from the grave till the end, man. To the death and beyond. I guess with us, it's to the life because we're already dead.
Awesome. After, 40 years, close to 40 years or 40 years that you've been hitting it back and forth, what do you think in your mind has been the biggest satisfaction of your career?
Just getting better and better as musicians and players and, and producing and just learning the ropes, getting out, playing shows, meeting, friends, making friends, just the whole experience. There's been some highs, like when we first got the first record out, it didn't mean shit to us. I remember this when Luck of the Corpse came out. It didn't mean shit to us to see it in a CD. It didn't really seem like, real until we got the vinyl of Luck of the Corpse. And the thing was, Relapse at the time didn't press vinyl. So we actually were playing a show in Rhode Island for Phlegm, Jim's Festival of Freaks. It was us, some other bands. I think Impetigo was on that one, bands like that. And some distributor came in from overseas, and we're like, look, this dude's got the Luck of the Corpse on vinyl because Nuclear Blast ended up pressing it. And we bought all the copies, and we were just looking at each other like, look, we fucking did it, man. We did it. We can do anything. And, we were fucking drug addicts when we were teenagers and fuck ups and all that stuff. We had to live and learn. I almost died from the shit plenty of times back then. So, it's a growing experience. It's getting mature without losing the kid heart of yourself. You got to keep that fucking, that youth forever inside you. So it's all of that, man. It really is.
King, do you have any plans following this album? Any kind of festivals or shows or any kind of tour?
The weekend the record comes out, we're playing 2 festivals. One's RPM in Massachusetts, and one is in New York. It's Rage of Armageddon. and we're doing those back to back. And then we're doing a record release show in DC, which is still our stomping grounds, even though I'm now in Pennsylvania. But we're getting out of those. Then we're playing a festival. I guess it is a festival in Hawaii of all places, man. We're going over there. And if I told the guys, anybody fucks up, they're going in the volcano and they ain't coming out. But there's plans for a lot of things. We're kind of in the early stages of some things. We just actually did a tour with Violence and Exorder right before we went in the studio to record this record, so that was kind of fun. But the idea is that we're considering next year the 40th anniversary. By the time things get to this, it'll probably be going into the winter. We'll probably do some stuff East Coast, maybe some one-off things if they get sent to us. You know, there was talk about Decibel Festival maybe out in the West and a couple other things, but mainly I think it's going to be a lot of going right into 2025 and then just going fucking nuts and playing the whole fucking year and celebrating 40 years.
Badass. I think one of the things I've always loved is your live shows. Your energy basically really transmits to the fans, and you always look like you're always having a good time there on stage. Has your approach to doing live gigs changed any over the years?
I mean, I've learned from, as I've gone along, obviously the first, I guess that was the first, probably the first almost 20 years I was the singing drummer. So a lot of that, I always say my butt cheeks were stuck to the drum stool and I wanted to get up, run around because I have all this fucking energy. So I was like, damn, but I had a great time learning to front the show as a drummer. So you have to, that's odd. Not a lot of people do it. We all know Chris Reifert, et cetera, et cetera. But when I got out front, like the first time I ever sang out front was at Fokken, of all places. It was like, thousands of people. And I was like, this is fucking fun. This is what I need to do. And the guys were like, yeah, you're like a pro wrestler. You're this big fucking dude, but you have all this energy and it's not like you're barely moving. You're all over the place. So the energy thing. And then I wanted to improve on just being a front man, talking to the crowd, having the vocals be as professional and as intense as I can have them every night and keeping the voice along the way. That's one of my problems. I seem to lose my voice, but 5 minutes into the show, it comes back every night and then it's okay. But it is weird. Some of the touring and stuff can get weird. I'm not a good sleeper. I've never been a good sleeper. So on the road, there's nights I barely even sleep at all. Like I'm up all fucking night or 2 hours and we're on to the next place. And that catches up with me when we come home from it all. But overall, it's something I love. I love being out front. I love the band. I want to make sure everybody's on every show. I don't like to have any fuck ups. I rate every show when it's over. I'll go 1 to 10, and I've never given us a 10 ever. But I told some guys we're getting close to 10s because I'm like, nobody gets a fucking 10, not even us, But there's nights where I'm like, this is a fucking 2. I should piss in all your faces, and I'll go, yep, I fucked up too. So it is what it is. Being the head honcho of the band and being the leader of this carnival, it can have its fun. You got to take the hits too, but it's all for fun, and we love doing it. We do. We love every town. That Violence Sex Hoarder tour was so good. We were playing a little bit earlier before those bands, and a lot of people came out to see us, and it was just fucking cool.
That's awesome. You also front October 31. Is there plans for that band?
Well, here's the scoop. I've told some people, and a lot of people know, our guitar player Brian, who's crazy as I am on stage, Hellstorm, he got Parkinson's disease, and he's pretty much done. He's got it severely, and he got it about 4 years ago. And we did one show, and after we did that show, he was like, "I can't play anymore. I just don't have it." And I thought he still had a lot to give, but he's basically retired. He's retired. We didn't even get to do a farewell record or nothing for the band, which stinks to me. But his health comes first, and if he needs to live out his days like that, because I don't wish that shit on anybody, and he's got it really, really bad, man. So that's kind of where October 31 stands now.
Definitely understandable. The release formats for this new album for Children of the Morgue, CD, I'm guessing vinyl as well through Hell's Headbangers.
And cassette.
Yeah, and cassette. Whoa.
They're like, and cassette.
And they're one of the few labels that still kind of push the cassette, which is great. I mean,
the Eric, the the layout guy, he was telling me, he's like, man, they love the cassettes. People still love them. Hey, I grew up with them too. They were all, they were in your front pocket, your back pocket, in your car. They were the one thing you got your music around. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of hard to put the vinyl in the car. So they do make sense.
Speaking of tapes, and you're from the 80s, I mean 70s, 80s. What was your go-to metal record when you first started with this stuff?
Well, in the early, just a quick back thing. I mean, when I was a kid, before it was heavy metal to me, like it was just hard rock and bands like that. It was Kiss. It was like Kiss Alive 2, late 70s and stuff. And then it turned into first Van Halen and, your Ted Nugents and, stuff like that. I had a big thing for Freight Marino and Mahogany Rush, which kind of under the radar kind of thing, really heavy, cool record I was turned on to in 5th grade. Then it kind of hit the punk rock. I got lucky with, into Plasmatics and the Dead Kennedys pretty early, and the Ramones. But when it got to like my metal records in the 80s, like right out of the gate, it was early on. It was the Maidens. It was the Number of the Beast, especially. Then Peace of Mind came a-crawling, and that became my go-to tape. Just that intro for Where Eagles Dare, the sound, and they also had that like dynamic sound tape too, so it actually sounded better than most of the horror shit. But I don't know about if you guys ever did this, but it was that Columbia House Records and tapes where you could get like 12
absolutely
things for a penny. I was eating that up. It wasn't really metal then. I was getting like, your Ted Nugents or your Nazareth and stuff like that. But that carried me a long way. Also, Woolworths, an old discount store in the mall, by then was getting rid of 8-track tapes. And I was discovering UFO and Jethro Tull and Hawkwind and Nectar and, bands like that for 88 cents, back then. So that was stuff I went to. But my go-to heavy metal record, whenever someone wants to talk about heavy metal, I always say, listen to Children of the Dam from Iron Maiden off Number of the Beast. I said, that's the perfect heavy metal song for me.
That is pretty epic. All right, King, we appreciate your time. Everybody go check out Children of the Morgue, coming out August 30th on Hell's Headbangers. It's really good. Like, honestly, I'm not even just saying this because I'm talking to you. It is a really good album.
It's kicking ass.
Well, thank you guys both, seriously, for the support. And I wish you well with your project and, being online and keeping technology alive.
Thanks a lot. And hopefully we catch you San Diego soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, King.
Bye-bye.